medical cover in terms of the work that we do. It will amaze you. We run a health fund for our members, and the kind of conditions that keep coming, and we feel that most of the deaths. We had a council meeting yesterday, and every region reported not less than 3 deaths of nurses. So we are asking the questions: what exactly is happening to our nurses and midwives? And we have even asked our Education and Research Committee to conduct a research for us to understand what indeed is happening, because these medical...
Any answers yet?
Not yet. They are yet to conduct that research, but we want to go deeper and understand what it is that is happening to us. Because if it is due to the work environment, our exposure to a whole lot of microbes that we are dealing with, or the kind of work environment...
So, you see what's going on? So in 2024 under NPP, she was even talking about letters. Omopefu allowance, no, or say the letter, no, and corresponding to the amount of money they are giving. Today, how much is a letter? When she was speaking, a letter was 17 Ghana cedis. Today, a letter is 12, max 13. But she's not considering all those things. What the government is doing in 5 months. Now, this woman, was setting up this strike. Nukruni. You see? This is the husband of this lady. Nukunu, your friend, Bright Ofori Ampofu, constituency chairman, BNA Victory Walk, Saturday 23rd, November 2024. Nukunu Bawumia and Onigina ticket so. So, dear Muhuno, let me tell you, this is the political part of it.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Kevin Taylor, boy. So they be almost share. Okay, now mommy and just and be more ha. Yes, a strike is C. I mean the NPP for Kasa. And this time a strike is C. And the nurse for maintain. Women yabut say. Oh, Ghana net no platform say we here platform we. If you say the animal thousands of people. Oh, don't cut it in the charm. Hey, me baba we. Baba, don't cut it in the charm. I'm about the yasamasa. Me baba say me body ding. Don't cut it. On one ye bibia. They don't cut it. It don't. I copy gold. Na company me baba no company be. Mo wonim don no. Company be aba. Omo ye gold near the gold in some dia. Omo say omo some sponsor don. Hey, me baba pay gold. Na machine on the two gold plated the. That done. Right now, this is the issue. Nurses strike continues as health ministry fails to reach agreement with GRNMA. Yes, and the health ministry no omone eye nurse for more Ghana etnase. Say eye omu dwumadia omu so mde gu fom nyoma bi sebi ompese aban eye ma omo aban ye nti omu nye dwuma biom no. And the aban eye the Ministry of Health and the nurse for tenase. Yes, nkomo no entumi ensi. Yes, obia sebio de na nurse for ne pe and the aban pe no omo ti entuma nko bankrum nti eye strike no eda ho ekoso. And you see, sometimes you ask yourself, nurse for all right to say omo be demonstration, omo be strike, omo so ebema omo voices, omo be kasame ate de helmo. Yes. Nurse for enso ye nipa, nurse for enso faka, nurse for enso tua taxes, nurse for the asudia eda teacher ni so no, eno abi na eda nurse ni so, asudia eda police ni so no, eno abi na eda nurse ni so. Dwumadia nurse di edibua Ghana no, sebio dwumadia ye nyina no ebe ye ni so. Now the question here is, nurse for as professionals no, so omo busa bibie fra ban wa. Menya sure say Ghana ni bia o Ghana obetima sori tia say adentina nurse for busa say aban bibi say na yepe e de aboaye ema edwuma koso anase aboaye ankasa ama bibia koso aban e wo so yi nani. Now before me nurse for asem we sunu be some kire wade bi. Oh maami we. Ono na ye Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery DNDM for penyini. Ono na set it up eye sa strike we. Owie no no Finland. We ja hokɔ Finland. Oye den a. Okwa akɔpɛ position bi ewo some foreign den organization munti we ja or set it up strike ni wie no. A okache nurse for nyina so mo nkɔ adwuma no. Owie no free Ghana or Finland. Mrs. Perpetua Oforian Pofo has been elected as the African Region Representative for the International Council of Nurses (ICN) board at the Council of National Representatives meeting and ICN Congress ongoing in Helsinki, Finland. Now, on the D nurse for on the nurse for him, Mamma way, Nikunu a full NPP member, but in the card Babachremo. On the nurse for no group Kakratina, no, and or set it up strike no, and we no Finland. Into only Ghana, or no a leader no, or no me meeting no, and or activate strike no, and or whom or Kosher Finland, or copper position. Eti nurse for Nkwejuma, nurse for Tifie, a pim for biu. Enkwara bi wu ayarefo bi wu nipa na odi nurse for the nimu na o manage omo no was set strike no up and wakotena Finland so up a position. This is how it's working. I just want you to know where all this is coming from. But the reason why Ntebenya Butcheye we no me pese Ghana for nurse for na say if it's a nurse for no the right to demonstrate or to strike. Now go back to a nurse for semi. The question is, Muni Pabebra more Ghana, what is a nurse for strike? And the Oyirinyum, Wako Hospital, ya pamano, yes, nurse for new. Obayare, Wako Hospital, ya pamano, yes, nurse for new. Obienya accident, ya pamano, yes, hospital, ya tum. Confornoche, ya cantum, is ya nipa entumin kodia yarsa. And what is a nurse for strike? The question is, nurse for strike no makono, a dear no more pe, a dear no mubusa buying. Bedinka catch nurse for right bia say or some demonstrating and some striking. So mu say nyoma bi nkoyia. Remember, nurse for enye ende any nurse for Ghana. Nurse for our Ghana for over 60 years. And a nurse for our Ghana. Inti so when we say nurse for striking that this is not the first time nurse for strike. Inti it should not be politicized. I just want to draw your attention to something very important in this whole strike thing. And I want the young nurses around the nation to sit down and listen to this because, you see, I know you are passionate about your job and I know you are passionate about what you are demanding. Now, yanina yeye Ghana for na sebio yeye abaino. I was say ye hundi ya mubusa. Na ye say the mubusa ni ye betum di amamu and I say ye ntumi fa mamo. Now, in 2024, and a nurse for more Ghana, Satana NPP are buying any power. And a omone are buying 2024 May. Nurse for any are buying no. And Omokacha are buying say Omu Hianyo maybe I was a buying no Eyamomo. This is under Ikufuado, under Baumia, under Afenyomakin, under NPP majority in parliament. Now, nurse for more Ghana nyane eye aban ko shia Ekufuado aban May 2024 no. This is what actually happened. Omko shia no de epia mu nie. Sorry, let me bring this up. Omko shia mu 2024 no. They called something the 2024 collective agreement. International for any NPP aban all the way in May 2024. Etnasi ebusa aban eka de nyoma to aban nim say we na ye pese aban ye. Sometime na NPP aban led by Ekufuado Bawumia Kennedy Japan brand champion mo no mu petumi. No mu nim say omu hia a lot of nurses in Ghana, majority of them to vote for them. Enti omu tenase no nurse for no de nyoma bi eto Ekufuado aban nim. Now, The 2024 collective agreement for nurses and midwives in Ghana, signed in May 2024, outlined improved conditions of service, including salaries, allowances, and benefits. Inti omni aban Ekufuado aban ni share no May 2024 no. That means May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, that 7 to 8 months near Tuaba. It's not time womb. And aban any omotenase. Now, nyoma omotenase to aban any say aban any momuno enie. And kaise sa nyoma na ende ama nurse for we akọ strike. It is nurse for no strike na omakọ nende no. Enye nde ya na omubusa ho asemo. Eye under NPP aban no more 8 months to elections. Omuni omotenase eye agreement. Said yen say sa nyoma we de ya giatum na yebeye. Don't get it wrong. Team. Okay, I'll show you that. Now, so ready a agreement nurse for in 2022. Nurse for thank you, Mr. S. In 2024, no, these were some of the things na nurse for nibusa and the strike number. Ekufuado abani jitu say omobe sa nyoma we nyina in 2024. 1, 13th month salary, an additional salary annually as a bonus. Nurse for in 2024 May. Omni aban trans Ekufuado aban ba obi aban trans no. Omo ka se afibia no e o se ye samo mo bosome ba ko kan wo aketua free. Intinka December bia no o so mo je aketua mienu. 13th month salary. Adia na nurse for no demand in 2024 May. Strike na is nenie. Nyoma nurse for ni busana sebi o mo se aban we 85 months enfa mo no. Sa nyoma we no mo ni Ekufuado aban ne tena ase a omo signing agreement say omo be ya mo ansa no mo fira aban mu. Omo se nka eye afibia no the last month of the year no December no o se mo salary mienu. Every summer per se tu omo 13th month. Ya de bosome baako eka afibia e salary ho. A demand on the two Ekufuado aban nim all the way May 2024. Ekufuado aban G2 mu yebetia because na election eba. 2, fuel allowance. Normal say support for professional engaged in travel or outreach services, which this one I agree. Normal say nurse for yes small mo amomo ebi nurse we Ashanti region so onko sirem na onko di dwuma bi na onko di dwuma bi omo no mu hia fuel allowance, which I agree. The first one I don't really agree with it. Say your mom 13th month salary. I don't agree with that. Because and the government agency, a buying institution, be able to say a man 13th month salary, which I don't agree. Now, fuel allowance for nurses. Omutu kwine. Sebio ejumenti also ko bono also ko srem wojana yere ne ma obekwai also ko sa fuel allowance no sa nurse ni so yi free ne salary mu e was sebio at least aban to me man allowance or the better fuel. So the second one I agree 100% with the nurses we can demand no. 3, medical allowance, subsidies for healthcare costs for personnel and their families. This I don't agree. Nurse for the demand did be say I was aban omo health insurance no aban sebio ete sokura momo ene omobusuafo anything and the nurse for akọ strike no. These were some of the demands they were demanding from the government. And Nana Danko Ekufuado Bawumia in 2024 May they agreed so omobetua because now elections eba. Now do you understand? I don't agree with this. Medical allowance no, because you are paid your full salary. Senior police you try the full salary. I was say otumi pay health insurance. Now on one kasa airden, say try health insurance. Almost say almost pay a reduction of subsidies in health insurance. Any omobusuafo. Anything and the nurse for a strike. I don't have a problem with them. But this was started in 2024 May under Airden Ekufuado Bawumia, and they agreed because there was an agreement that was signed. The other demand or demand here. Rural incentive allowance, extra pay for those serving in remote areas. I agree. Omo asebi omo to mu wesi was say omo person ko tena nkurase no mo ye de nurse adwuma e was say aban to me mo some special allowance, which I agree. Inti 13th month salary I don't agree. I agree with I don't agree with fuel allowance. I agree with fuel allowance. I don't agree with medical allowance, and I also agree with rural incentive allowance. I agree 100%. It is some of the demands are NPP are buying GD in 2024 na make catch on. And I'm about uniform allowance, which I don't agree. Diane say annual support to maintain professional dress standards. Almost say a buying ensa more allowance on better uniform. I say, I'll make you sumana skirt. Now, I'm looking professional. I don't agree with that. You are a professional. You are being paid. You should be able to get your own uniform. How much is uniform? This uniform allowance, I do not agree. Sanyoma we count a nurse for me no say almost strike almost omunye juma anadwi opemfo bi ewu. Anadwi opemfo bi ewu because nurse ni say aban man is kan man fan koto atade enhye. Nurse ni say aban man health insurance no fa bi man ebusuafo. Nurse for ni bi say eye aban ensa ma 13th edien month salary. December no yema mo salary mienu. But part of me agree with them no and say almost for allowance for mutu kwa kodi nurse juma ma aban no saadi de me agree with it. I will say aban here. Bibi to say medical allowance me agree with it. Rural incentive allowance mu ko nkurase akoye eye ejuma as nurses me agree say or say aban some special allowance. Me chira de kudi enti and the nurse for akọ strike. License renewal support. Almost say employer sponsored professional license renewal. Almost per se abaying your free be a professional license renewal. Abaying almost license no abaying sound support no renew more. But you are a professional nurse. These demands are like you are in school. I just say munina more nursing school. Majority of your demands, I just say more nursing school. They want the government to sponsor or help them with their license renewal. No. This shouldn't be a reason why nurses are at home. And I keep telling you, you have all the right to strike. I respect that. But this government has been in power for 5 months. You sat with Ekufuado, Bawumia, May 2024. They told you they were going to do all these things because elections were just ahead. For 8 months, they did not attend to any of these things. Now, I must say, workload management measures, structured protocols to balance nurse workload. I agree. In fact, those things are very important. And it's people like us. Yeah, can say nurse for the bina Abai should find a way to employ those nurses because we need more nurses. Because under ura kolebu ura konfonocha, utmi one nurse na a patient bear 100 and a so that's not right. So we need to expand the employment bracket. More people will be employed. Stress, we will get a balance. Pressure and better nurse for us. So now you one nurse are all treating 50 patients. We need to make sure we have enough nurses in the system whereby there won't be a lot of pressure on the nurses. So I agree with the workload management measures. Those things are supposed to be done. And I agree with that. Now, what's the next one? Continuous professional development, financial support for training. It's very good. When you work at a point, you need to open your horizon, expand your horizon, freshen your memory, and also learn different things. If you want the government to support you in training, enhancing your skill, it is very, very important. And I support this. The government should help nurses who are willing to expand their horizon, expand the training they have gotten, because every single day there are new mechanics are there are new computers, there are new technology, healthcare. So they need to be abreast of the issues. They need to update themselves. So the government helping them to update themselves, training. I support this continuous professional development. It is very important. Say the government helps them when it comes to this. Because of some of these things. And I'm not saying say demands make sure say here and say fata. Your BBF health and safety protocols, improve workplace safety measures. This is not part of a demand. I don't agree with this. Health and safety protocols, internal, administrative. Every hospital, the person who is the head of that hospital has to make sure those things are done. These are not demands. Some of your demands, I agree. I respect it. You need it. It's important. The government needs to see to it. But something like health and safety protocols, that's why we have CEOs of hospitals. That's why we have departmental heads. It is their job. In the hospital, no, and budget. They know, say, about health and safety protocols. These are internal things that has to be taken care of. This is not something you go to the government and say health and safety protocols is not being done well, so we are going on strike. Into your here because of health, and because that is why every hospital, your management, we have people who manage the hospital. We have people who sit and look out for nyoma was said de biano you're using it daily. Nyoma the health complications. Nyoma was said de be nurse for access to. Those are not things you need to go to government and demand. These are things that are supposed to be done internally, administratively. These are things heads and CEOs of respective hospitals are supposed to take care of. So you don't put this on the table and say, Sabino, I'm your health and safety protocols. I am going to sit at home for a pregnant woman to die. Structured grievance procedure, formal channel for addressing workplace concerns. This is not something that is supposed to make a nurse say I am going on strike. These are all internal, basic administrative things that can be done internally by managerial level. This is why we have CEOs of hospitals. Into share demands now, necessary demand now. About 70% of them are right. They need it. But about 30% or 40% of them, they don't need it. And I think, say, if the nurses take their time to trim down their demands, the government will be able to meet them halfway. Now, do you know what's appalling about this whole thing? Now, after May now, Omushia Abani no 2024 no. In fact, and the Kufuado no, in August 2024, these same nurses wrote to the government, Ekufuado's government. This is in August 2024, 28th August 2024, to remind the NPP government to say, we had an agreement. You said you were going to provide these things. Why haven't you done it? There was a minister of health who was then Ajima Menu. There was a government. So after May no meeting August, the nurses wrote back to them and said, we are reminding you, demand for implementation of the collective agreement of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. So they wrote back and they demanded, what is going on? We spoke. There was an agreement. May, we are in August under NPP, under Ekufuado. They didn't even listen to them. They didn't listen to them. And that is the letter. We bring you warm greetings from the National Council of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association and write to demand for the expedited implementation of the collective agreement between the GRNMA and the Ministry of Health and its agencies. It's almost reminded MPP abino. May I didn't count one seven and August. Mon can wish you not your abino Okoboy not or to parliament. Wabotai kwasia menene ko school. Okoboy onye di panchemi. Yeah, the guy for there. Satan Okoboy na minister. He saw it. They wrote, Mr. Okoboy was the minister. The nurses met and came back again to remind the NPP government because they were doing politics with it. Because the leader NPP ni, so they were doing politics and politics. So what they did was that they were using that so they basically used nurses for 8 months. They didn't mind them. The GRNMA collective agreement was signed on 20th May 2024. After months of appropriate engagement between the union's representatives and the employers' representatives, the process involved the preparation of our condition of service proposal to the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission with input from the National Association of Registered Midwives, Ghana Registered Midwives Association, Union of Professional Nurses, let me read this, Professional Nurses and Midwives, Ghana, and the Community Health Nurses Association, Ghana. Following the submission of the proposal to the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and weeks of negotiations, which culminated into the signing of the collective agreement on May 20th, 2024, the leadership of the association expected the collective agreement to be implemented on the 1st of July 2024 as contained in the agreement. So the GRNMA, they signed an agreement with the government under Okoboy with the ministry, and they were supposed to implement this agreement on the 1st of July 2024. All these demands I have read to you. Okoboy and the NPP government, this funeral party, they were supposed to implement it because they agreed to it. You know why they agreed? They knew there was no money. They knew the country was broke. But because elections na banti, they committed the government into this agreement. And anytime I catch a nice phone, say, relax. Nobody is against your strike. But there's something that you people need to know. There's something that we all need to understand. Into omucho letter we no, and I'm reminding about say agreement is signed here no. Yante woshe Yabadu August. DNAC, they didn't get any response from the government. In fact, so share a year after the letter they wrote, the people they CC'd. You can say omo mu CC omo nipa omo any letter they become omo say yes sir kaimo agreement near no. We've not heard from you. 2024 monka bi binche nipa omon saka sa letter ni bi no the attorney general Godfrey Dame ne saka letter ni bi obi to say the ministry of health Okoboy ne saka letter ni bi ministry of employment and labor relations ne saka letter ni bi controller and accountant general ne saka letter ni bi chief executive officer fair wages and salaries commission ne saka letter ni bi all chairpersons of Ghana specialized societies almost can let be and a GRMA national council members obiasa can let be. So Abine, they had the letter. Meeting was in May. They reminded the government in August. Who was the minister? Okoboy. Now, are you understanding? Your demands you are demanding. The government, they lied to Ghanaians and they lied to you. So when this government says, let us meet at a point, this government is a very hearing government. They are willing to find solutions to the problem. This government is willing to find solutions to the problem. Now, in 2025, Abai Sisayana Anna Ediang. Nurses no actual letter. Sorry. In 2025, Abai Sisayana Anna Mamena me did the picture chemona or set it up strike no. Cause I'm in a nikunu, nikunu. This woman. In the head omuye oman ka bibia biemo. May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and a tuaba, mameno anka bibia. Even though no, omo remind day omo remind day NPP abande, you not go on strike. This woman, she led them. She didn't tell them to go on strike. She didn't tell them to put their tools down. She did not tell nurses to stay at home. Anyway, ni kunu ya NPP ni. I'm showing what they are doing. But you see, I like the way this government is handling this. It is handling this without. Thank you, team. The team need the videos. We are sending me say, I'll just show you guys. Thank you very much, guys. Mami Way, in 2024, Mami Chow, what she said on TV. This is under Ekufuado. Miriam de only kunu pictures bachelor. Munim de esi Ghana. Nice for munyabutre. They are playing you. Mami Way, she's playing you. Now, Muntie Mami Way in 2024. Thank you, team, for bringing this in. This is GRNMA for boss 2024 and Ekufuado.
Now we are even still at the negotiation table. We are negotiating the new proposal we put forward. I must say this time is different from 2020. Okay. The government team is willing. They are always on time. They sit, they engage, we negotiate, and we are almost at the tail end. I know some of our members have complained that they are not getting information on the negotiation and all of that. But in truth, when negotiations need to start, we sign rules of engagement.
Okay.
And ideally, what you are negotiating on is not information that has to be thrown out there.
Oh, okay. So when you're at the table, you are not supposed to...
Exactly. You don't talk about all of these things. At the point when we were preparing the proposal, we engaged with the National Council. The National Councils engaged with the regional councils, the districts, and all of that. So what we put together as a proposal was input from every level and beyond our own structure. We also involved the other nursing and midwifery associations that are in existence, and we took everybody's view on board and prepared that proposal. So now we are negotiating with the employer, and once we finish negotiating, whatever it is that we get, it will be announced. We'll sign it off and everybody will see. But let me say that the inputs that were received from our nursing and midwifery fraternity were all captured. But negotiation is such that you can have the best of proposals, but at the end of the day, the employer will make a determination of what it can actually give you.
So you see, in 2024, her conversation was all about, you see, it was so flexible. They gave the employer, that is the government, the room. Even when they are negotiating, they don't tell people what they are negotiating on. In fact, the employer is very accessible. Negotiating, technology. You saw her body language. They took it so mildly. They made the nurses feel say they were working. They were putting pressure. So they didn't even tell the nurses they're not omokan. So every time she would come and tell you, oh, we are negotiating with the employer. What really happened? Now, still in 2024, these are some of the things she said.
You told me earlier that you were at the negotiation table as far as, the salaries are concerned. Tell me a bit more about that. Who are you negotiating with and what is the proposal?
So we are at the negotiation table with government as an employer. And of course, government is represented by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. As part of the team, they have representatives from the teaching hospitals, from the MOH, from the CHAG, from the other agencies, but I'm not going to share the issues one after the other in terms of the proposal that we have put at the table. But of course, for the existing allowances that we already have, we have asked that if you take, for example, uniform allowance that we are taking, it's 400 cedis. 400 cedis for you to acquire 3 uniforms with all the accessories for the year. And majority of our comrades wear white, a few others wear green. You wear scraps, you wear this, you wear that. It goes with your breast watch. You are wearing your white canvas or white sneakers, your socks. If you are wearing
all
your
of that, 400 cedis
400 cedis a year. And it is not enough. We have asked for an increment in this. We've also asked for an increment in the fuel allowance that is given to our senior colleagues. And it is also in respect of the fact that the fuel prices have not remained the same since 2020. It has increased, and the pump price as per liter is at a figure that is not what we are actually receiving. So these are some of the issues that we have tabled. We have also said we need medical cover in terms of the work that we do. It will amaze you. We run a health fund for our members, and the kind of conditions that keep coming. And we feel that most of the deaths, we had a council meeting yesterday, and every region reported not less than 3 deaths of nurses. So we are asking the questions, what exactly is happening to our nurses and midwives? And we have even asked our Education and Research Committee to conduct a research for us to understand what indeed is happening, because these medical...
Any answers yet?
Not yet. They are yet to conduct that research, but we want to go deeper and understand what it is that is happening to us. Because if it is due to the work environment, our exposure to a whole lot of microbes that we are dealing with, or the kind of work environment...
So, you see what's going on? So in 2024 under NPP, she was even talking about letters Omo pay full allowance no. Oka say the letter no and corresponded to the amount of money they are giving. Today, how much is a letter? When she was speaking, a letter was 17 Ghana cedis. Today, a letter is 12, max 13. But she's not considering all those things. What the government is doing in 5 months. Now, this woman, was setting up this strike. You see, this is the husband of this lady. Nukunu, your friend, Bright Ofori Ampofu, constituency chairman, BNA Victory Walk, Saturday 23rd, November 2024. Nukunu bawumia and onigina ticket so. So, dear Muhuno, let me tell you, this is the political part of it. Now, I want to talk to the young nurses in Ghana. It's my lady nurse for no. Or starting negotiations in 2024 May no. She never saw it wise. She said they have to put their tools down. But Abaiba power 5 months. Yati petruso inflation akonform meaning Adriane Buakonform nyoma akonform no. She still insists some form nyoma nguo. Now young nurses no entine fie. Intended me no ka say we are young nurses now Shemia. I don't have a problem with you demonstrating or going on strike. But the question is this the reason why I end the opium phobia? Samoko striker. The question here is Abina to Sisiano. The honest truth is we all know Abina the 5 months. Your demands Modi to Kufuado Abaya Odi 8 years in him. Any Abaya the 5 months. Your demands you are demanding. You and I, we know that the government cannot fulfill all your demands. You people know, and it's a fact. The leadership of nurses, they are using the young nurses to do politics. And then I don't have any problem with a young nurse. The young nurse is relying on their leadership. But the leadership there is not thinking about the young nurse. As I speak to you, sir, opium phobia, it is because na opese yamau uniform allowance. Na opese yamau bibia yam famau. Now remember, sir nurses for moko striker, mobusian foso eco hospital, they will not get access. Moirenum enyem no moko hospital, they will not get access. Oya nurse na ukunu eyarea oko hospital onya access. So your strike no, it affects mwankasa. But the question here is, in 5 months, a government that inherited all this debt, do you think that that government, you staying at home or your leadership telling you to stay at home, that government can fulfill everything? After a government that was in power promised, whilst they knew they could not, na NPP abide them say, they knew the agreement they were signing with you. They had connived with your leadership to lie to you because they needed your vote. The reality is, the NDC government is not fighting you. The NDC government at the end of the day came to meet an agreement. The NDC government at this point, we all know, is just 5 months. So how do you expect this government to raise that money? A government and what power, your politics with you people. How do you expect the government to raise the money? The government cannot. But the government can sit and look at your demands and say, at least we can at least take care of 30%. Because what we came to meet, any reasonable government, saying politics, any campaign, any elections, no reasonable government will give you that short time to say, I will, at the end of the day, fulfill every single demand on this document. Now you understand. It is all the next thing the leadership, they are misleading you. They are misleading you because our priorities, it is more political than you, what you need. And I don't have a problem with the nurses who are sitting at home, because when the leadership says, Mamumbe Juma, but at the end of the day, is it worth it? You staying at home and the opium phobia. The reason why leadership we can still fight for what we want by saving lives, because this agreement wasn't signed by this government, and the government that signed the agreement, your leadership knew they were not going to fulfill it. The government cannot fulfill this. Let's be real. We are trying to get out of the mess Mami way any new Kunu party they created. This woman, This woman and her husband's party, the mess that they created, we are all trying to get out of this mess. This woman, Nikunu political party, no, the mess they created, this government, it did 5 months. NPP was in power for 8 years. You people never went on strike to put everything down to allow innocent people to die. Some people are doing politics. This woman is doing politics because a Nikunu party in free power. Because they want to use you, the young ones. The government cannot. And this is the reality. Let's not play with this. Let's not act. Let us not pretend. The earlier you tell your leadership to sit and be reasonable and meet the government halfway, for the government to be able to at least fulfill some part of it. The government cannot fulfill everything because agreement na mami we di mutikwa shasi no. This woman knew that her husband's party, NPP, no, 8 months to elections, they were not going to do this job. So more nurses for no. More person your makoya mami when also mo strike demonstration tia na mo change no. For 8 years she could not get you these things. This is the woman I also mo pamono. When also mo rise against him say I was some change no. Because for 8 years if she could not get this for you, then just 5 months or person because she's doing this because her husband's political party is out of office. That is why we are here today. That is why we are here today. I'm asking you. We are next now. Basically, this woman has turned you people into murderers because of her selfish interest. But you people, deep down, you want to work, you want to help people. The negotiation that happened under NPP, they knew they were not going to fulfill it. They knew it. This woman knew it. Nikunu party, she knew what she was doing. But you see, they knew, say, more young ones now, they can play on your conscience. They can use you. That's why today people are dying. And she has left you people, oko Finland, oko preposition, young people, ekunafo, enkwara, mwankasa mabusuafo ni bi ewu, all because some woman and her husband, or mwankasa junior domutrimuno, it is not about the welfare of nurses, but also to it's just for them to feel important in a political party. And this is the reality.
OPD for so almost so I was here before fear.
38-year-old Zila Okine is 9 months pregnant and battling severe stomach pain. She journeyed from Teshi to the Adabraka Polyclinic, desperately seeking medical care. But upon arrival, she met a painful reality. The facility was almost deserted. Nurses, who would have typically been the first point of contact, were nowhere to be found.
Maybe Baby will be any honomo, and I'm anti information be as we say, baby. Say ever coso till say my baby home.
Her hopes of finding relief were dashed. Tears welled up in her eyes as the pain grew worse, with no one immediately available to help.
Fitty and run on my run is a so maybe no more in checking, but unfortunately, bedroom animal say no. So be any animals.
I watched her from afar, clutching her belly, pacing and occasionally sitting in discomfort. It became clear she couldn't wait any longer. I stepped in. After speaking to one of the few staff members present at the maternity ward, Zila was eventually ushered in. But that was not the end of her wait. For nearly 20 minutes, she sat quietly before being processed and directed to a consulting room where a doctor finally attended to her.
They've checked me, but they asked me to come and see the doctor. So I'm in the queue to see the doctor. I feel okay now. Yeah, I feel better now than before.
The question here is, what would have happened if no one had intervened? How many people like Zila are left in pain with no one to speak for them? This is just one of many cases playing out in health facilities across the country. The outpatient department of the Adabraka Polyclinic on a regular day is very busy, but behind me, Just as you can see, the place is virtually empty. Nurses here, like many across the country, have abandoned posts as part of the ongoing strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. And the impact here is dire. Patients who would typically rely on this facility for basic health care have been left stranded with no medical staff in sight.
It will last as long as government agrees to implement our condition of service. That's why we have withdrawal of OPD and emergency services. That is from 4th to 8th, and after 8th, that is 9th, we are withdrawing all services, including wards, theaters, and all the hospital facilities. What we are saying is we also need to be taken care of. Is it not sad what you will be at the emergency and government agency, departments, and other ministries will come and government will pay for them, and you, a nurse, a midwife, will be at a hospital when you are sick, common para, you will need to pay for it.
According to them, this is the 4th major strike action by nurses and midwives in less than 6 years. Strikes were recorded in 2018, 2020, 2022, and now in 2025, all centered around unfulfilled agreements, salary arrears, and poor working conditions. In response, the Ministry of Health has issued emergency directives aimed at maintaining essential healthcare services during the strike. A high-level meeting was held earlier this week where the unions presented a unified demand for the implementation of the 2024 collective agreement, which they claim has yet to be honored. The ministry says it is closely monitoring the situation and is working to deploy logistics and support systems to minimize the disruption. But for patients like Zilla Okine, the delay in care is already a heavy burden to bear. As the industrial action continues, thousands of patients are caught in the middle, waiting, hoping, and in some cases suffering. From the Adabraka Polyclinic in Accra, I am Godwin Asidiba reporting.
So these are the facts. Thank you very much to Godwin. I think it's TV3, right? Yeah. These are the facts. Your leadership, they are misleading you people. They need to renegotiate. They need to say with the government. The NPP they are not intelligent people. They did that for power. And power no. Where they put you people no. The government cannot fulfill all your demands. And your leadership, they are doing politics. And it hurts me when I see a young nurse in Ghana or say, we are nurse now, para krampono, untiminto para. No, that's why you are working. That's why you need health insurance. That's why police you know health insurance. That's why civil servant na sebi oya tankers no yamane health insurance. I also do health insurance no. We are nurse. Menya sure say America ha abrochi ha nurse ni bi say hospital or yejuma hospital or yarinti or say money draw free. No. In fact, abrochi hospital be any one point draw. Why are you people making why are you coming up with these ideas? Where is it coming from? Say nurse didn't say me call hospital na me yaria na me yejuma parakura me nyebi. No, it is not for you. That is why you are paid. You have every right to demonstrate when you are not paid. Because that is what you use to take care of yourself, your children, your husband, take care of your needs. Until you cannot tell me, say, with all due respect, we are nurse in Inti, or say, oh, yaria, utumi topara, or hospital free. No. It's not see I am free yeah, and the police in now number one or also the TN also to be born hospital like I say me so a 20 kutameno me de Ghana for home buying into mama me drone fanya miti na me so me hon tome and I say a prison officer no also about prisoners home buying sebio ya uncophobic prisoner or me hardened criminals hardened armed robbers ye jaw mo bupia bon me ku yire ono so make say me so I'm putting my life there on the line mo so mama me draw free. It does not work like that. It does not work like that. It's what I can tell you when they say, as much as you are sitting at home, no, I'm telling you for a fact, tell your leadership to renegotiate. Because someone renegotiate here, what is going to happen? And they say, you'll be sitting at home thinking you are hurting Ghanaians, you end up hurting yourselves. Remember, hospitals now go no. Machines this is you no. Say at the end of the day, say if you're on strike, now you buy area. Unya ba no so obetuma ese maame we ono so betuma ewu They be a government, and I've told this government about nursing in Ghana, we need to privatize it. Abain or say oyin in free employee nurses. We need to give institutions, private institutions, accredited institutions, the right to recruit for government. And they will have to be paid through these private agencies. So every private agency will have its own package. It will be a Juma private agency A. Through then, the file say uye Juma el kolebua. Your agency, when you don't deliver, the government will have to tell your agency to sack you. Or your agency will lose its license. Into that agency that employed you to come and work at Kolebuno will make sure say every single nurse you are the Kolebuno it's working to protect omujuma, because the agency need the whole nurse about Kolebu. Na so when to man juma ni ye na patient be ko so our agency your accreditation will be taken away. And that Nippona agency will not sit there for you, a single nurse, to let them take away the accreditation. You'll be kicked out, a new person will be employed. The moment we decentralize the recruitment of nurses, the government needs to stay away from recruitment of nurses, because the moment the government takes that position that they recruit nurses, the nurses feel entitled. With all due respect, but because of that idea, nurse for be oma, because when you say there will not be any checks, they will be paid. So the government needs to take their hands off recruitment of nurses. We need to have accredited agencies in the country that are well accredited, giving them that slot to do that job. It is a Kolebu here, a necessary. Kolebu knows that there are accredited agencies in Ghana, over 20 aba, over 25 aba. Those nurses are working as private contractors. Into we a private contractor. A jumana nipana of our juma as that agency no udi agura abai be license. Sani padaba pamon. And that is the only way we can check, because say enya buy na car, you cannot get on the street and demonstrate. You cannot get on the street and talk about your uniform. You cannot get on the street and talk about working conditions, because at the end of the day, the government is negotiating with a private agency. So one agency now leave the agency and join an agency that has better package, and that is the only way that we can get rid of bad nurses and good nurses, and also working conditions will be better for you people. So it's about time, as a country, as a government, we started detaching nursing recruitment from government. The moment government takes over, we are never going to see, these things are never going to stop. People are going to do politics with these things. People are going to go on undermine the government. People are not going to work the way we want them to work. Because strike way, say private agencies and recruiting nurses way and abandon to your car and sa demonstration way. You will not see this demonstration. So when somewhere demonstration, they'll be demonstrating against their agency that recruited them. Our government is paying them through the agency. Anything about America, about Abuja, government does not recruit nurses, because government imposes pressure. It is also agency we Kevin Taylor agency. That's about $17 an hour. Ompa obetumako amaikuya agency. Ebi obutia $20 an hour. You can work with them. Ebia Franco nursing agency omutia $14, but omu work incentives na edoso. You look at all those things, weigh them. Ebia agencies the grade no mo peno. When do sa grade na unya agency bia ni omu nyejuma. Into one nursing school you are forced to learn well. That is how you build a nation. You don't take that burden on you. The moment government takes nursing training and nursing, it becomes a burden. Now every time the government is always on the back, people are pressing the government, because then everything is like pay us, but you go there, there's no work done. The same nurses who are on strike, the citizenry, we are complaining about some of their services. Why? Because some of them are automatic. The moment I buy it will say so we cannot measure the work flow. We cannot measure the work output. So people just want to go to nursing school because onya na buying fan and no. Or bet me at disrespect a patient. Nobody cares, because at the end of the day, accountant general and we need to cut that out. The government needs to move away from employing nurses. The government needs to start working towards that and getting accredited agencies that can do this job.
Whenever I say PENDREAM TV, PENDREAM TV, there, I see them, you